Let's
That'll
get
be
into it.
It's power time. Get ready, let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast. In today's episode, Matt and I will take you through what we're seeing in the industry right now, which is really a game changer around AI and how we configure platforms. We'll explain why we took a couple of months off and really decided to rethink what we need to do over the next 12 months with the podcast and which guests we'd like to have on. And also, we jump into what the industry might look like over the next 12 months. So get ready, buckle in. It's going to be a great episode, this one. And if you get a chance, please like or follow the session, or please share it or tell your friends. With that, I'll hand you over to myself and Matt. And remember, this is only our personal point of view, not the point of view of Microsoft or Get AI. Hey everyone, welcome to Powertime. I'm joined here with my awesome co-host, Matt Noble from Get AI. And today we've had a couple of months off, right, Matt? So probably about 8 weeks. Just got a lot of things going on, and we wanted to sit back. We've been podcasting now for 2 years, so it was a good time to kind of take a short break, rethink, and have a look at the industry, and really just work out what we want to do for this year. So how's the last couple of months been? I'm sure it's been super busy.
First off, thank you for calling me awesome. That's a good start to the year of podcasting. And also the fact that we haven't done an AI first podcast means AI hasn't taken my job when it comes to podcasting as well. Yeah. So there isn't an AI Powertime host that's replacing me. So that's also good. It's been a whirlwind. I can't believe we're already in nearly March, April at this stage. Yeah. It's been nuts, and every sort of 2 to 4 weeks, something ships in the AI world that truly blows my mind. And even chatting to you prior to us hitting the record button today, I know you've been doing some cool stuff in the AI space. So maybe that's a good segue to kind of chat through some of the stuff that you've been doing and you've been seeing. But looking forward to a big year ahead, and we're going to go hopefully get some good content and some good guests. You've teed up a couple of guests already that are pretty important in the industry. We're looking forward to sharing those this year with our audience. So might flick that back over to you, mate.
Yeah, awesome. I'll talk about a couple of things I've done, but one call out, if anyone got on the latest Power Hour. Yeah, Power Hour. Last week. So Matt was on there with one of his customers, Grable. It was an awesome session, I felt. Jack did some of the hostings. For those who haven't met Jack, from my team at Microsoft, he's very accomplished with Copilot Studio, and he hosted for the day while Nathan Backus, who's been on the podcast, he's off having a baby with his wife. So they've been very busy for the last few weeks. So it was an awesome to see you on the show, mate. And we'll put the link in the show notes so people can go and have a look. I think we had about maybe 16,000 people registered for that. So pretty.
It was
popular.
A big audience. Not as big popular as Powertime, but nearly as big as that. But it might be a good segue.
We have the number one loco power podcast in Australia now, surely. So
they're spinning up new servers to host the amount of traffic that we're getting this year. But that's a good segue, actually. Let me chat on that quickly before I hand it back over to you. So I'm very proud of the team, and also really proud of the customer that we did that with. We basically built the first computer use agent globally, within Copilot Studio. And now I don't know if you've seen Anthropic. Anthropic's now dropped a massive, uplift in that. They're pushing computer use agents. I think it's going to be a big watch for tech this year. But back to the cool one we did with Microsoft. It's always interesting when you're going to go with this emerging tech, because as we know, we're kind of testing it as we go. We actually work really closely with PG, so Ken and Joe Fernandez from Product Group. So I want to say massive thanks to them, because there was a lot of learnings, there was a lot of refinement together. We were actually helping Microsoft ultimately refine that product, that agent, that accuracy, all of that kind of stuff that's needed as it starts to grow and scale. And I think there was 3 different core models that came out during, the entire life cycle of the project, and each one got faster. I think the last one that we launched when we went live with was actually 3 times faster at processing the computer use, or the actual action that the agent was doing, than what we did when it started. And then there was another one that was just about to ship. I think this week it's shipping. I was chatting to Ken and the guys. We're actually testing all these new models with what we built on behalf of Microsoft as well, because we do have that use case. So, But it's just cool tech, yeah. Like it's like literally
Yeah.
natural language into an entire instruction set, and then ultimately performing a task. So interesting watching RPA this year. I know there's a lot of RPA in organizations. I'm not saying it's going to rip out all of that kind of stuff, but it's kind of, if you have a similar use case scenario, what would you choose? Yeah, because you are able to build it in like days. Yeah, like the instruction set is days now. It's really really fast and really powerful. But
Yeah.
again, you know what I mean. It's just weighing up, like anything, like what tool when. So yeah, for those out there, definitely have a look at it. It is definitely the way I think where it's all going. But yeah, an exciting project to be on. So yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like with AI automation, if you can use AI to pick up like the false kind of negatives or the hallucinations, if you have a 50% strike rate, effectively you're not paying a human to do it. So just run it twice as much, and and you're getting twice the efficiency, or maybe 10x the efficiency. So it's a debate at the moment because we're used to RPA where we go, oh, hang on, that's ineffective, or perhaps that didn't work. Someone's changed the website and it doesn't run anymore. And this kind of addresses those issues using generative.
Yeah.
And as long as you can use AI now to catch that, that maybe was inaccurate information, and then we're going to rerun it again. Yep, that's right. Some kind of like gate checking there. Then who cares how much it runs? It really just comes down to a token now. Like how much is it going to cost to run is really interesting. But back on track on the kind of how this year's kicked off for me. Really exciting about the open core stuff. This just crazy. I've got my own open core running on my own Mac Mini now. It's sensational. I love it.
Hang on, hold your fingers in front of your face. Am I talking to Scott, the earliest? Hold your hand in front of your face.
I had it. I had it running on an old Mac that I had here, and I upgraded actually this weekend to a Mac Mini. Just purely because the more you use it, the more it starts to really use resources. I was surprised at how much it costs to run if you use tokens from one of the
told
big
me
guys.
this. Yeah. How much?
It burned through $20 in like, I would say less than 2 minutes of running with some of the requests that I was giving it. So it's like, oh, okay. And a lot of the podcasts you're listening to, they're saying they're spending $2,000 to $3,000. And I heard today that if you've got a first class developer and you're paying them a lot of money and you're not spending $500 to $1 million on tokens,
that was Jensen, wasn't it, in the Nvidia podcast?
Then you're kind of you're not doing the right thing by them. So it's interesting now that developers are going, what's my token allowance before they actually go and take the job on, because they're using AI so heavily. So that's really interesting. Open core stuff's really interesting. We recorded a podcast that I never took to live last year on a side project that I've been working on called Power Studio, it's a piece of podcast software that I've been vibe coding to really help podcasters podcast, if that makes sense, including us. It's nearly ready for prime time. It took me about 8 weeks to kind of vibe it. And I surpassed the tool that we use today. I surpassed that within 4 weeks of vibe coding, like from functionality point of view. Now I'm way beyond it. And what I've just released now is even like, it's a step way beyond that. So really impressed at how quickly you can take this stuff to market. I can literally come up with an idea and go, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had an AI podcast booking run sheet? Or wouldn't it be great if we had an AI wizard to create a podcast for really short form podcasts? And I'm able to just really within a week get that into the product and then start getting it testing. It's not perfect, right? Like it's generative, so there's issues. You've got to troubleshoot. You've got to work through the code. You need to understand the code, and you need to be able to harden it. And really, I wouldn't suggest anyone go if you don't understand the code to just go and do this. Like you really need to have an understanding of how it operates. But if you've got an understanding like that, and I've done a few. I'm nowhere near a developer, but I've done a few side hustles before with this stuff. It's really super impressive. So hopefully I'll put that live on Powertime in the next month or so. Once I do a bit more testing and people can go on and use it, we're going to have a free tier and a paid tier on that. So that should really help people out who want to generate a podcast, and even if they want to get started for free, they'll be able to do that on that tool. So really looking forward to that going live in the next month or so. Another really interesting thing is supercharging demos now. The ease of which I've seen my team at Microsoft and and others around the world. I was looking at some outputs from some teams in Japan literally last week, and I just can't believe how quickly we can build demos. So when we sit down and talk to customers now, customers will go, oh, I've got this big long running project I want to get from maybe a Salesforce to Dynamics. How do we do that? Or I want to get, I want to still build an app like on React. What's the fastest way to get that done? I'm shocked right now at how quickly we can configure this platform. Like, it is just phenomenal, and the amount of time we can generate really first class demos has really dramatically dropped as well, which means we can spend more time working on customer requirements and matching them and less time on build. So that's been amazing. I think it really unleashed when Dataverse kind of supported MCP middle of last year, and then people started looking at, can I just ask it to go and do stuff now, like go configure a table, or even better, go and configure a table for financial services. Imagine I'm a banker and I'm going to do these things, and it will just go and create a demo based on that. And then you have a team of experts like my team will sit there and look at it and go, oh, okay, that's not quite right. We'll change that. We've done discovery with the customer. We need to update this and things. But the amount of pressure it takes off the team is just tremendous. So yeah, that's a massive step up in capability in the last 6 months and speed to build. Be interesting to see that go out to like your teams, Matt, and how you use that, consultants out in the field and how they deploy. I think we're still kind of working through that. Code-based apps in the Power Platform, massive step up in capability there now, the Vibe platform, all these kind of things. Phenomenal how the team's just building a React app and then hosting that in low code. So a lot of people look at that and go, oh, okay, but I've got a dev factory over here. I can just do that. Actually, most customers don't invest heavily in a core set of 20, 30 developers just sitting there with a massive, stack of a pipeline that they've built, right? Most customers will either pay for that or they'll buy the app already pre-built. The really interesting thing about Power Platform now is that you can grab that code, you can vibe that code in React and then just put that into a Power App and then just use it as a use case. Really, really fantastic results we're seeing come out of that as well. And the speed to build and all these kind of things. So now it really just comes down to what's a business problem and how can I imagine to solve that with technology? And then we just go forth and do it. Super exciting. I would say the platform's never been more ready for this. And the great thing, without overselling it too much, the great thing about these new code apps is it's sitting in a platform that's hosted, secure, governance is already in play. You can go and build on it without having to stand up a whole bunch of stuff. So in that sweet spot of customers that want to use it, I think they're going to see a lot of really great results over the next 2 years. But that's kind of my, that's all of this stuff has really just happened since Christmas or early late last year. So amazing start to the year, and can't wait to see what the next 6 months is going to bring. But how's your world, Matt? What's top of mind for you at the moment?
I just want to touch on a few things that you said. So I think the last 3 months, the rate of innovation or rate of what AI can do is just blowing my mind. Yeah, it's just accelerating. And I think if you're a product, the PG team now, and I know Claude is, I watched it was a podcast with the owner of Claude Code and stuff like that. And he was doing the podcast and he's shipping features for Claude, like just they're building Claude and all the Claude agents in the background, and building all the new features and functions of Claude. I dare say Microsoft would be doing the same. So if you're a product owner of a platform or product or stuff like that, the amount of stuff that you can ship now and just talk to it, similar to what you did. You got an idea in your head and you come up, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could do this? Let's have a look at it at least. Yeah, you get the rate of innovation and rate of functionality you can add to a product, an app, a feature is just super cool.
I'll tell you a couple of stories about that. One, obviously, a personal one with the Power Studio stuff. Literally 4 days ago, I thought it'd be great to have a chatbot AI assistant in the product to be able, so people can just go, what's my podcast? How many viewers has it had? What's my number one? What are my stats? Can you go create an episode and get baseline started? It took me like 15 minutes. And then I uploaded it into the product and it took me an hour to go through the generative code and kind of get it working. That was Claude code. But yes, I can't believe it. even as I sit here and talk about it, right? I just can't believe how fast it is. You can just go build something like that and then troubleshoot it as well. I do find you need to use, like, sometimes I've Claude will
Flicking models, yeah.
Claude will just get to a point where it just keeps telling you the same stuff, and you go, yeah, you told me that 10 times. So then I move over to ChatGPT, put it in, and it solves it. Then I move it back to Claude. So I do find I do move stuff around. Like VS Code in the browser is really cool now as well. I tend to kind of use that because you're buzzing between so many different things. So that's one story. Another story is, I was looking at a demo by engineering last week, right? And they were showing some features that they literally built in 4 weeks ago. And they're ready to beta test with customers. It's just, like I've never ever seen that in my whole career. Just the rate of pace now to be able to create and get features in a product and things like that. Like we're going to see some really rich UIs. That's all I'll say. I'll say that the depth of the application capability is how you win in the next 2 to 3 years in SaaS. If you're not doing that,
you're gone.
Yeah. Literally 2 people in a garage are going to get your application and build it in 2 weeks, right? Like I'm talking about vibe coding in front of the TV on a Saturday night. It's not my full-time job by any means. I cannot imagine if I invested in 4 developers now and said, hey, go build this. We know there's a market for it. How quickly you could get something up way better than anything that exists right today in the market.
And I see that with some of the SaaS products, the stock prices of the people catching onto this. I don't want to be controversial and say some product names, but there's a lot of products that I've seen that are in trouble. Those SMB-based SaaS offerings, light touch CRMs, all of that kind of stuff.
You know what I think's in trouble? I think that application stacks where people like SaaS companies have really relied on acquisition and haven't done a good job at building a platform or integrating well. I think they're the ones that are at risk, right, at first up, because, it doesn't take long to build a UX. And what people need to remember too, like if you're using a CRM application or I wouldn't say ERP, but we will get there. But with CRM mainly today and these kind of first party apps and that are built for a business process, to be honest, right, like vendors build thousands of features, customers probably use 10% of it for their business process. So what's really hot in the market right now is what customers are saying to us is, we get you've got a great first party app, but how can we now just shape that and build that just for us? Like we've got the capability to do that now. So we just want a CRM built for us as a customer. We don't want to use templates. We don't want to use accelerators. We just want something for us for this process, right? And before, you'd engage in a really big project. You might bring in like a consultancy firm to figure out what that process is. You go do a build and you might get there after 2 or 3 years in a really big enterprise. But more than likely, a lot of those projects tended to fail, right? Or they'd get up and they would never be perfect. But now you can iterate as you're going and really build it at that rate that it allows you to be able to create a really bespoke application or business process that works 100% for you, fed back by the business. It's a different world, right? You can even get the business to kind of build applications for prototypes and go, this is actually what we need. Go and build that. And then just give the prompt to the developer. He'll go prompt his AI model, and then go turn it into
harden it, put in prod like that,
Yeah.
That's the cycle now, I think. Completely agree.
It's really changed, right? And it's moving at a really large capacity and fast rate, I would say. So anyone's kind of I spent a lot of time talking to customers. Like it's almost like a mindset change, right? Oh, we've got to do this big thing, and it's go. Well, I don't know if there is big things anymore. It's let's grab what the problem is and let's just go try and fix it and solve it, and let's do it at a rapid pace, and see what comes out the other end. And we're just seeing some great results. So anyway, that's I
think we had Ryan on. We had Ryan on about, I think, last year or the year before, and we were chatting about the role of the business analyst or the process owner.
Yes, that's right.
Never become more important than now. Because they know the process, and now they have the actual tools to develop the application or automation for that particular process. So I think the role of BAs or process owner, all of that kind of stuff is just super important now, because they can come up with like a 70%, 60% even, working prototype, then hand it over to a technical team to harden it, secure it, get it to a production state and ship it. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what we're going to see more of. And we're going to see more apps than ever before. Yeah, like I don't think the role of the app is going away. Yeah, we're just going to have more of them. They're going to be more targeted, more refined, all these types of things. Everyone's talking about agents, and there's going to be thousands, millions of agents. Yeah, we already know that. Yeah, but applications aren't going away. I don't think either. Yeah, I think there's still the role for the humble app. I would describe it as.
I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, we've got Agent 365 just dropped by Microsoft to kind of help people go full autonomous. That's the way I see it. When I talk to customers now, we have two kinds of approaches: a human in the loop or full autonomous, right? And then you can get into chat where you're going, is it deterministic or generative? All these kind of things, right? So that's where that's the language we're kind of talking about now, right? So when you look at human in the loop, it really is a first party application. So actually the same as what Power Studio is, right? Like it's a human led application where AI is kind of doing a lot of the work for you and you're checking it and you're going, yep, I agree. That's a great bio. I'll use that bio in my instance. Or, I created a deep research agent for Power Studio so you can go research a guest. And it comes back, here's 10 things they're talking about, right? Or here's 20 things on LinkedIn they posted. So, so that kind of human in the loop application, I think, is where the Australian and New Zealand market is right now. That's what people really want. I think the full autonomous market is really in open core and, fast moving startups that care less about security, but also, in the individual right now. I think that'll come to the enterprise. And I think also Agent 365 is a tool that allows you to monitor every agent. It's agnostic to technology inside of your Microsoft organization and basically put a number on that agent so you can monitor it and disable
control pane for all the agents.
Yeah, control pane.
I'll describe it. Yeah,
it's great analogy. So, I think that really is what is going to help us get to full autonomous. But no one's really ready yet to go, here's an autonomous agent, go and do what I do and I'll see you next week, right? Because there isn't the trust there to send an email,
No, we're still human in the loop validation.
Go and buy something.
Kind of stuff. Anything external, it's still human in the loop.
No bank is sending a credit check, right, via OpenCall, right? Like, it's just... No one's that crazy, right? Because you don't know what the end result is. It might generate something and a human sits there and goes, yeah, that's correct. I'll send that. But, I just see that in the enterprise, that's where we're a human in the loop. Now, we'll get to full autonomous for some things, but I think we'll always look at the output. For now, you'd have to be very, very trusting. It's the same as, if you look at humans and the way they operate, like at what point do you trust someone to go your business's critical information and then just disperse that across your customers, right? Like it's someone, you can just look at a job description, right? 10 years experience in the industry, bachelor degree, you can go through the list, right? Like reference checks.
You just upload the NDA into the agent instruction set and go, hey, you signed the NDA, you can't share this information.
All this kind of stuff, right? Before we have enough trust for a human to do that, let alone an agent to have enough trust to do some of those tasks, right? So, what I'm seeing right now is just supercharged humans doing work that they couldn't do before. I'm seeing developers build stuff that maybe they're terrible at UX design, right? Terrible at
most developers are terrible at UX design.
I wasn't going to be so general, but a lot of times you look at the UX and you go, oh, really? I've got to do 12 clicks to create an invoice? Like, seriously? I've seen some terrible ones as well. Like, now that should level that playing field, right? Because AI will come back and go, really? You're going to do 12 clicks to generate an invoice? Well, why don't we do that in 3, right? Or they'll get feedback from the customer that says 12 clicks. And they'll go to court and go 12 clicks. Can we get that to 2? And they'll go, yeah, it's a great idea. Here it is, right? So, we're in a different world now where you have that kind of intelligent developer working with you. But yeah, interesting times, Matt. Interesting times.
Yeah, I think one of the things we're seeing is customers are still trying to find the right use case. Yeah, a lot of the use cases still coming through. Yeah, could have been done 5 years ago on Powertime, to be honest. Where we're doing
that. Just go solve it, right?
Yeah. I'm like, great, going to save 3 hours a week on this. So one thing that we're doing at the moment is is getting organizations to set their goals and targets about what they want AI to do for their business. So it might be, 10% more revenue, or 10% cheaper cost to serve, all these types of things. Okay, what does that
That's a great
actually
idea.
look like? Yeah, what does it look like? Yeah, so
Yeah.
they'll go in. This is at C-suite level. Yes, this has been really
Yeah.
effective in finding those hero use. I'm probably giving away all my secret sauce, so sorry, Stephen Carlos. But anyway, but this is something that we've been doing a lot of to actually find those use cases. So we've found some absolute crackers recently at some organizations by doing that. Yeah, setting those goals. Okay, what does that look like? All right, because like I say, we're working with organizations that are still just doing standard automation, not thinking big enough. And they're getting pressure, going, "Hey, what's my AI investment? What have I actually delivered? All that kind of, bottom line. Yeah, what have we actually impacted? Have we had by this project, by these use cases, implementation? Yeah, so it starts at that level and kind of drilling down. Also, how do we put what a human would do typically in like a review cycle? It could be like a contract review or something like that. We're finding that's a great pattern at the moment. Like, what does legal do? Great. What does procurement do? Great. All of that kind of stuff. And again, human in the loop steps all the way through, but the ability to kind of, because that's just a document review, check and validation at the end of the day. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah, the request comes through, they'll review it. Someone will typically go through it with a fine tooth comb. Perfect AI use case. Yeah, feed everything that they would do, all of those different checks and balances, nuances, different customer industry, all of that kind of stuff into an AI agent's knowledge source, spit it out and go, hey, I found XYZ, this has passed. The legal person just hits review, approve onto the next phase, or hey, go back with this, all of that kind of stuff. So we're finding some great stuff and a lot of common patterns. We're using content understanding a lot at the moment. Super cool tech. Yeah, like if Alejandro was on the call, he would go into it in a lot of detail. But
he's one of
that's in
right?
Azure.
Yeah.
That's in Azure. Yeah. For like document review and validation, it's providing the right instructions to the agent. Yeah, it's just super powerful and being really clear and concise. We use that for that other use case in Powertime that I spoke about. And we've used it for like tender response review and some of the other stuff that we're looking to do with the banks, all of that kind of stuff. It's just the tech that we're not using doc intelligence now. We're using more that now because it's being able to provide far clearer and concise instruction sets as well.
So that's really interesting, right? So how do we get the right prompts for the right outcome? At a technical level.
Because each one of these lines and fields, you can create a prompt within it, within content understand. It's able to like figure it all out. Yeah, it's really cool tech. Yeah, like I put my nerd hat on. It's cool stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. I think while I've seen a huge influx in Claude code from OpenAI for a lot of this stuff, I think we're getting way better results from Anthropic right now for this foot on the ground understanding on what we need to get done. My personal experience is OpenAI has been really good for more creative research, asking questions around, hey, I want to do this. Should I do this or should I do that? Claude has been more of a workhorse. Once you get to what you want to go and create, like my example with our app is, we need an assistant. Go build it. Here it is. It's built. Let's go give it a run. That has been really good. Or design me a more modern UX. I love how it adheres to standards. It's like, hey, I'm building on the latest Bootstrap.
Yeah.
Like just go build on that and don't change. And your whole app is consistent.
That's crazy.
That's been really, really cool, right? And before, like I remember I built an app years and years ago called Internally Sharing, which I still have in my GitHub repo, which one day I'll completely rebuild. It was hard going from one Bootstrap to the other, particularly some of the older versions up because of the significant changes to the code you have to do. Now it's just like, it's not even a thought for me. It's just a prompt. So, I think those kind of things is really exciting. So Claude the workhorse, OpenAI more the conversational kind of thought-provoking agent. That's what I find. And I dare say there'll be others, right?
Yeah. My recurring AI spend is continually going up as I add more products. So I'm not using one model for everything. I'm like you, I'm chopping and changing. And even during customer projects as well, we're using Anthropic for this and OpenAI for that in the same use case as well. I think Charles put a post up yesterday. Similarly, that was a great example globally. And that's what we're finding, it's what model when as well. Yeah, what model provides that.
And
some are cheaper. Some you need that grunt as well. Yeah, some of the more expensive OpenAI models, you need that heavy workload or heavy workhorse to do a lot of that kind of stuff. So that's another interesting one as well that we're kind of playing around with internally. So yeah.
Well, I think we're seeing the rise of the on-premise model more now, particularly the open core, right? Can I just use Llama or something, Kimi, to kind of just locally on the host to do all of that, go generate this or go do that kind of stuff. And, I'll only go out to Claude or the more expensive models for the bigger tasks. That seems to be working okay, but you very quickly need a fairly large machine to kind of run those. But yeah, as we automate more, like I can't imagine, the future of what this is going to look like with these kind of AI agents and what you're going to need to run them. That's, I dare say, I mean, there's a lot of people doing Raspberry Pi for the agent for open core. I mean, that's you don't need a lot of grunt for that, but it's just running the models locally. You need to, otherwise it just costs too much and it's not worth it for personal use. So, all right for a business if you're offsetting it against something like a labor cost of another human, right? Like that's.
Yeah. I know AI is becoming more popular. When my mum messages me and says she's part of the Copilot rollout program and all of this kind of stuff and starts spamming me with things that Copilot can do, and I'm like, Mum,
you bring up a really good point because we talk about AI a lot and we don't talk about Copilot a lot. I think it's a great topic, right? So what am I seeing in the world of demo and customer rollout around M365 Copilot? It has a really, I think, strong use case for inside, particularly Microsoft applications, for security and governance and access to data, right?
Yeah.
Like you can give it to an employee. What M365 Copilot represents is the employee that's had 10 years experience, has a bachelor degree, a trusted source. Like it's the trusted employee that you're working with, right? It's not going to go outside of the boundaries. Yeah, maybe if you flip the browser over to ChatGPT and you dump the same prompt in there, maybe you'll get something a little different or, something a little bit more detailed that you're maybe not getting in M365 Copilot, although that is getting less now as we support the newer models. But, the data is not breaching security and governance guidelines, that you're not going to see someone's payroll, right? Or you're not going to see a document that I've marked confidential that I don't want anyone to see, right? The stuff that really matters in the enterprise is protecting that information. I think that's worth the money for that. For that alone, being tied into the platform and the integration also that we're seeing into applications, first-party applications like Dynamics and things like this, like the ability to be able to just open up M365 Copilot and start querying Dataverse, gold. Like that just brings your data to life. Yeah, really cool. So, it's the coworker, right? Like I just,
cowork's coming out. Yeah,
that's right. Office, that's the Claude offering, right? So, I see, I just see a lot of uplift around that, and I see it as a really good use case. Yeah.
I think that co-work's going to take off. Yeah, I know you need another SKU and all of those types of things. The launch of the E7 is coming, as we know. I got my thoughts. They should have put something else in there as well. But anyway, I'm not going to be controversial and put Power Platform in there, but you know what I mean.
I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know. It would have made the perfect AI bundle right then, because you could have done human in the loop with the one SKU, right?
Vibe coded, Power Apps, everything.
Anyway,
above our pay grades, mate. Unfortunately,
100%.
That's that co-work stuff is super cool. Yeah, like that is it's truly going to transform a lot of organizations. Yeah, but I think you need to understand how to use all these tools. That's why the standard M365 Copilot's great for a starting point to kind of do that, and then you move on to that more elite, not fully autonomous, but start to have these actionable agents doing stuff within co-work. Yeah, like performing these tasks, like being able to clear out your inbox and automatically reply and all this kind of stuff. Like you got to have that level of trust and understanding that what you've set up is all right. But for me, if I logged on and be like, hey, do this, clear out all the stuff, clear out my admin. And Nicole Beecroft, if you're listening, I know she's going to be loving that as well, because
here's the thing for you,
love
right?
admin. Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Like, as everyone knows, I manage a team of 14 solution engineers at Microsoft. So I'm right in the mix of it all the time across Australia, enterprise accounts, public sector, or right across the mix, right? Here's an interesting thing. What if you think about probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, Matt, or maybe 12 months ago, it probably kicked off. There was this famous kind of line, it would have been a year ago. I think it was by Jensen that said, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job if you don't understand and know how to use AI. Something like that, right? And everyone kind of rinse and repeats that in the industry for the last year. Like, go learn AI effectively.
Yeah.
When I saw what MCP could do, and when I saw the demos and the vibe coding and what we could do from January this year, really effectively when my team went to Seattle and come back with a whole bunch of information on how to really create these things fast and really do that really simply with natural language, I just sat there and thought, what the next person I need to hire, what does that person look like? If they don't know how to use VS Code and generate AI-led prompts to be able to create demos and create outcomes for customers, I don't know if I'd hire them. I don't, right? I don't. I'm in two minds, right? Like, you could get an industry expert and go, I can teach you that stuff. It's not hard. It's natural language, and then turn them into a supercharged person. I think that's a great profile for someone to go and hire now. You've removed that kind of technical barrier for that kind of person. But if you've got someone that's deep technically in the platform and they are not using these tools for at least a year, and they know how to prompt things and how to create things and how to use VS Code and these kind of tooling, you're probably going to go to someone that does, right? I just think, I think it's moving so fast. The profile of the person you would hire now is vastly different to what it was a year and a half ago. So why am I saying this? Well, it goes back to Jensen's, whole thing, right? Like, are you going to lose your job to AI? You're going to lose a job to the person that doesn't know it. Like, if you haven't leaned in AI in the last 18 months, then sorry, I think you're going to really struggle. Like, I really do think you'll struggle because it's so prolific in what we do now, right? Like, every day it's not just getting into open AI anymore. I guess that's what I'm saying. And putting a chat in there and going, hey, respond to an RFP response. It's in everything we do. How we build, how we demo, how we show up to customers, how we talk about the platform and why there's an advantage on it, right? Like, all of these things is really fundamental to the job now. And that's all changed in 12 months, 18 months. So
if you're a kid going through school, all this kind of stuff, like, what are you going to study at uni? Like, I wouldn't even know where to begin at the moment. I don't know. like, you know what I mean? Like, I know obviously AI is going to open up these new jobs and all this kind of stuff. It's a really interesting space to be for the grads coming through and all of that kind of stuff as well. I know they're really tech savvy, which is great, and all of that kind of stuff. But like, courses and degrees and all of that kind of stuff, I'm sure there'll be heaps. You know what I mean? But it'd be interesting to see. Yeah.
I won't name them uni, but I've had a couple of my family members go through a local uni, and there's a course they run through that, or a module, which pretty much bags AI. Why would you use it? Yeah. Why would you use it? It's taking people's jobs, all these.
We'll talk about this one offline. But yeah.
And of course, my family members come to me and go, what are they talking about, right? Like, and I was really proud of one of them that really stood up and said, that's actually not true. It's the people that embrace AI. And like, I'm talking about a person doing a nursing degree, right? So nurses, I couldn't think of any, if you picked one field, right, where AI is going to help the most, it's nursing, right? Like, how can we help with diagnosis? How can we help generate stuff that you're spending day to day creating notes on so you can spend more time with patients, right? You're never going to get rid of nurses, right? Like,
no. God, no.
People are not going to want to talk to a robot or talk to an AI bot. They want to talk to humans when you're sick. That is going to be there forever.
If I'm on my deathbed, I don't want Optimus walking through and talking to me.
No.
I want I want
You
that
want a
whole. I want my
human.
lollipop. I want a bit of jelly, and a bit of cake, all of that kind of stuff.
100%. So if I could think
Yeah.
of any industry on the planet that's never going to go away, it's nursing, right? A human is always going to want to be there. But if I could think of a job where there's so much they have to do outside of the job that we could just automate with AI, it's nursing, right? It's health.
Yeah.
It's such a, so it's going to be so much better experience for them. Even from when one nurse comes on shift and the next one comes over, like being able to listen to a virtual assistant that tells you everything that happened during the day, and you can just slowly listen to that before you walk into a patient and be briefed, right? It'd be like having the nurse with you, right? Like this technology doesn't exist today, but it's doable with what we have today. So I guess my point of all this is, why would you educate people in that way? And going back to what you said in, what university degree and what would I do? The universities need to do a 180 degree or a 360 degree turn and really get on board with the way we're going to operate in the next 2 years. Otherwise, they will not exist, right? Like they just need to.
Well, the skills they learn would be redundant because you'd be able to accelerate that with AI. You know what I mean? So someone that knows AI will be able to prompt and get the same information of the years you've been doing to study all of this kind of stuff. The information will be brought to their fingertips, and because they know how to use this stuff. So I completely agree. So
I remember I was on a panel for Westpac with David, who was on this podcast, the CDO, and we were talking about, they were doing a Shark Tank initiative, which was spoken about in the podcast. And we were talking about this exact topic, right, around AI. And one of the things I said is, what we're giving everyone is access to intelligence. That's all it is, right? At the moment, is it the best intelligence? Does it make stuff up? Yeah, sure, right? But what does it look like in 10 years?
It's going to be mind-boggling. So
that's right.
It's going to be, yeah.
So what does that mean for degrees and how we work with these things, and how does that change? Like now's the time that we need to start thinking about what that means for our careers and how we change in the way we operate and what that looks like, right? Or if you think, hey, I don't want to go and do this, I'm 18, I don't want to go and be an accountant because I think that maybe the AI is going to take that. I doubt whether it would, but maybe it will, right? Like from maybe, who knows, right? Then go and pick something that's not, like go be a builder, like go be, something, hairdresser, like go do something that's never, ever going to be optimized by AI, right? Go pick a career path. You're 18, you've got the whole world ahead of you, right? So, so I think that's, though, and we've spoken about this before, where those kind of jobs are probably going to be more, required in the future, right? So, you really do need, to your point, you really need to have a good think about, because I don't think the universities, to my point, and I'm sure I'll get comments about this, but I'm not sure that the universities right now have got the mindset to fully embrace what's coming and completely change the way they operate today, and that's what they need to do. That's my personal opinion, right? There's probably pockets, like there's pockets that are and are not, right? But I think it's coming in the next year or two. No doubt they will, right? I've got no doubt in my mind that they'll believe.
I'm just seeing it more as an accelerator to get through more stuff. As a famous Microsoft tagline, do more with less. So we're able to get through more tasks, more things, ship more products, ship more accounting review, all of that kind of stuff, contract review, everything like that faster. So we're able to do more stuff. So it's a very interesting time.
The unlock here is human to human, right? Like any job is bogged down with administration. Like
the soft skills are going to become numero uno. Number one, soft skills.
The GP skills. Example, right? Like have AI listen to the call and take notes, listen to the appointment, so the GP can sit there and talk to you rather than them sitting there typing on a keyboard while you're just sitting there talking. Like much better
experience, isn't it? That's a crappy experience. So you're sitting there going, what is he doing? What is he typing? All this kind of stuff. Like,
all of these kind of things. There was a great example. I think it was on All In when they interviewed Jensen this last week, where they were talking about radiology. And radiologists were supposed to go out of business. When AI got introduced a year ago, and or 2 years ago, and we're now in a position where we're actually doing more because we've got better accuracy on looking at images. We can do a higher volume, so we can spend more time with patients if you're a radiologist, and doctors understanding the problem, right? Doesn't
The
mean they're losing
turnaround
the
time
job,
on
right?
medical exams and reviews, because
Yeah.
you should be able to generate it, right? You know, the last thing you want to do is go get a test and then have to wait 3 days for my results. Yeah. So with AI, I should be able to just go and accelerate that rate right through. So you're able to get your results almost in real time. You know what I mean? About what that's come through. So
Yeah. So we need
yeah.
to go back to the more human elements of the things that we do and
Yeah.
really lean into the AI to kind of do the heavy lifting, the stuff that detracts from that. That's the way I look at it. The human to human, you know, people buy off people. It's the human to human element that needs to be amplified now, and the more mundane stuff will just automate. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's a big shift, right? It's a big shift. Mm.
And then we've got the Optimus robots coming. So what do you think the first Optimus robot use case will be? You can't say manufacturing, someone's obvious. Yeah, in a warehouse. And Elon will eventually get Optimus robots building Tesla cars. You can that's obvious. It's like a first trial use case or something like that. Yeah, we'll bring some stuff associated to that. But yeah,
I think he's already doing that, isn't he? I mean, he's the X line got shut down, didn't it? So he could build. No doubt the first use case everyone's going after is, hey, can you go and wash my windows and bake me a cake? Like, you know, that in-home help is cleaning. That is the unlock, right, for these things.
I would pay. Shut up and take my money if someone could come through and do that kind of stuff for me. Like, hey, Optimus, I'm going out. I'm going to the pub with the boys. Can you come in and clean up the house today for me?
Yeah.
I'll be home in 2 hours. Can you put that in the oven as well? Yeah, I'm hungry, all that kind of stuff. Bang.
Yeah, that's the unlock.
Can you imagine like that?
That is the unlock. I think the second unlock is aged care.
Yes, I love that use
nursing.
case. Yeah, I love that as a use case.
Even just conversational stuff with dementia patients and all this sort of stuff. My dad, before he passed away,
and test how they're going as well. Yeah, test that's a great use case. 100%. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So before my dad passed away, he had dementia those last 2 years. I wish we had an Optimus robot to give him just to talk to all day. Right, he would have loved it. Would have been amazing for him. Right, like I think, you know, and because he loved to talk. You know, but people don't love to listen often.
It's genetic, then. Genetics.
So you know, I think that's a really big use case as well. And then thirdly, what is the use case? Every single dangerous job humans do. That's my third use case. Big use case. Everything.
Okay.
Washing windows down the side of a building. Go on, Optimus will do that.
That looks fun. Is that really dangerous?
Hanging off a crane, working under heavy machinery, like hanging off a crane, going into a gas chamber to repaint a cylinder, right? Think about it. How many humans right now? Snake catcher, yeah.
Snake catcher, Optimus going like this.
going into the zoo to go and, you know, I don't know. Feed a lion. Yeah.
Great use case.
We will move into a society where we will go, I can't believe humans used to do that.
Well, we're seeing that now I can't believe I used to do that when I'm generating documents or generating statements of work or all these types of things. I was chatting to Gary, one of my program managers, about it, where he's a heavy user of AI and ripping guy. Again, I was like, Gary, how did we do this like 2 years ago? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we used to write all this stuff, and it's just crazy. So,
well, the answer is customers pay for a lot of stuff that probably didn't really give them a lot of value. But think about SaaS versus shelfware, right? How many software solutions were sold to customers they never ever deployed, and then SaaS came on, and it's like, oh, now it's deployed, I can use it. So you know, we're going to see those unlocks. I thought it was amazing. The Jensen's talking a lot about Jensen because NVIDIA is just on fire. They're doing amazing stuff, right? Like
they're doing some cool stuff. They're really cool. He's a genius.
Yeah, sometimes I listen to his podcasts and his TikToks and things like this, and I go, is that founded by alien technology? Because I cannot believe the CPUs and stuff that they're generating now and the amount of throughput they can get through those backplanes that they're connecting. Trying to remember the name of them, but I can't, to these GPUs. And then Jensen comes out a week or two ago and goes, we're going to solve driverless, right? We're going to release driverless chips effectively and training models so everyone in the world can have driverless technologies, not just Tesla. And that's a move that really surprised me because I honestly thought Elon would have done that. I thought by now he would have stood up a company called, I don't know, driverless something and or maybe call it Y. I don't know.
That focused on going to Mars,
and he would have just sold his driverless technology, which is amazing in Teslas, to Ford, Holden, Audi, you name it, right? Like, and it looks like Nvidia is going to go do that. I think that's a $1 trillion market cap right there, just in that in itself, if they can really do that. I mean, you mentioned brands like BYD and all of this kind of stuff. So, phenomenal. Provide the hardware, provide the software, provide the training. That's, and we definitely need that, right? Like, I think the car manufacturers are way behind Tesla right now when it comes to tech. So that's going to be a huge unlock for those guys. And, I think these new CPUs that they're producing as well, offloading workloads onto those instead of a GPU is going to be, up step again. And, they released Blackwell, 7 months ago?
Yeah.
They're probably ready for the next release in the next 6 or 7 months, which is going to, obviously give a big step up increase again in GPUs. So, I think we'll move towards really cheap tokens soon.
Yeah.
I think it's a big cost like OpenCore today. People have to remember, if you remember Windows ME, and remember Windows XP, and remember those really early versions of Windows, you put them on your machine and it would slow down. And everyone would go, what? Why is it's a great operating system? Well, not ME, but XP. Windows 10.
That's what it wasn't it? Yeah.
Great operating system, but my PC slowed down, right? And it's because Microsoft realized that they could release an operating system that used a certain amount of compute that was coming due to Moore's Law, right? Like, they could amplify out Moore's Law and go, well, that'll be on song in, 12 months' time when we release this amount of RAM. People will have to upgrade their machines, which everyone did do in their cycles.
There's some more revenue for Microsoft.
Yeah, so people would look at that and go, oh, okay, all right, now it runs well. And to a certain extent, Moore's Law still has an impact on things, or we don't see it as much now because laptops, can last 5 years, right? I think we're in that same cycle with tokens. So right now you stand up OpenCore.
For sure.
You stand up OpenCore and it costs you $3,000 a month to have a virtual assistant. That's what people are kind of saying.
$300 a month in 12 months time. You know what I mean? Potentially. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you go backwards for, the 10x increase, the scaling laws, I think if you look at scaling laws instead of Moore's Law, and it's somewhere between 6 and 10, people state different things. I think if you reverse that back, what we're paying $3,000 a month for now will be $300 a month in 12 months' time, $30 a month in 2 years' time. So,
which is kind of what we're telling our customers a little bit as well, because it is, the consumption is quite high and all that kind of, like the agent that we built, it's running at, I can't remember, I probably shouldn't say publicly as well how much per run it's costing, but the models are way cheaper, faster, more efficient. Yeah. There we go. The first time I've stopped myself from saying something in 38 years of my life now. So, there we go. I must be getting more mature. But it's going to get more faster and more cost effective. Because the message that we're saying to customers is just go. Yeah, like go. Yeah. We even had that with a customer in I think when Jen was over, I think Jen got asked that question.
Jennifer Larry. Well. So Jennifer Larry is the director for the Customer Zero Story in the contact center. Yeah,
avid listener of the podcast too.
Has been on twice.
Shout out to Jen. She's probably listening to this somewhere, and Jen, I will come on your podcast when
I spoke to her. We went out she came to Australia recently, and we went out to dinner on Friday night at Meat and Wine Co, which is in Melbourne, which is a stable for us to go and have a steak at, and it was coincided with my daughter's birthday, and I told her about a trampoline that I've been building, and I've now so if she's listening, I've nearly completed the trampoline. I think I'm 7 hours in. I've still got to do the roof, which I'm going to do this afternoon, and I'll never, ever build a trampoline again for the rest of my entire life.
Well, there's a great optimistic use case, Scott. There's another robot use case.
Done with trampolines. Done.
Was it worse than building an IKEA furniture? IKEA furniture still like
hands down the worst
stuff I've put together, and it's one part wrong. Really,
hands down the worst thing. Yeah, worst thing I put together in a long, long time. Yeah. Yeah.
But circling back to the point, the thing is, like, you just got to go now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no point like waiting for this or waiting for that or waiting for that feature, because customers are like, well, should we wait for this later stuff that's coming? And I'm like, no, like, you've just got to go. You got to ride with it. You got to have this agile mindset that we're going to shift, pivot, innovate, all of this kind of stuff. Because if you get left behind, your competitors are going to be doing this, and ultimately you are left behind. So you just got to go.
There's two mindsets that I see right now that are holding companies back. That's one, right? Definitely is, should we just wait? Like, nah. Well, while you're experimenting, it's an incremental iterative learn. So you learn something today with AI, and then it slowly gets better, and then 6 months from now you go, well, I can't believe I don't do that anymore, right? But to then start 6 months later, you're 6 months behind on that increment learn again. It's not like you're instantly there.
Well, I think you're further than 6 months behind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff that you have to kind of set up to get it going, right? Like, so
100%.
So I think that's a problem. I think the other mindset is the mindset that I was talking about earlier on in the pod, where customers go, hey, I've got this big beefy project I need to do around CRM or something like that. And, I'm going to map out all the processes, and I'm going to take a year to get that deployed, and I'm going to do all these kind of big things. It's like, no, actually that really isn't a thing anymore. It really isn't. It's just get in and get it done. And move as fast as you can, and use as many AI tools as you can through that deployment.
The death of the waterfall project, is that what you're saying? It's really just shipping the value fast?
I'd challenge you on that. I reckon bring back the waterfall, bring back the end result.
Because you get all the requirements up front, and then you feed it to your AI agents to build, and it has everything.
I reckon I don't think you need agile anymore, right? Like, I just think the development cycle, like, to iterate MVP first. Like, I don't think you need to think about MVP first anymore. I think you just need to go, okay, what do we need, and let's just go build it tailored for us, and get that as day one. And I think from that you're iterating into really innovation. Before we do a project, you think about a project lifecycle over a year or two, like big enterprise ones. You go and deploy a piece of software, and you'll get it to a point where everyone's happy that it does the job they need it to do. And then you tick box, the funding's gone, and that's BAU until the next cycle in 3 years' time, a new thing comes out. I think what you can do now is you can get to that point straight away, very, very quickly. And then from there, it's like, well, what are all the things we wish it could do, right? Like, how can we, if you look at the development cycle of the Microsoft software now through our engineering, that's exactly what they're doing. It's like they're dropping features every month now. It's no longer is that this is what we're going to have in 2 years' time. And I think customers should think the same way.
Yeah.
It's like we'll it's not MVP, it's final build. We'll do that in the first 6 months, because we're accelerated 10 times now with the way we configure the product with AI. And then the roadmap from there is all of those things that everyone asks for, just put the whole lot, just do the whole lot. Right? Because you can just spend the next 6 months just dropping a build every month to get that done. I'm
interested to broach this conversation with Justin. Great, we're going to get him on again soon. What he's doing at Toast, because he's part of that whole product development and stuff like that. So we can just hear what he's doing to approach it, because he's super switched on. So
he's a prediction for our prediction episode. Which we've already done.
Predictions. What are you doing?
I'm putting an add-on.
What are you doing to the viewers? You're
an add-on.
Viewers.
I wouldn't be surprised if we come up with a new name, not agile, not waterfall, but something that reflects AI in the next year or two.
Okay.
So those two names have been around in development cycles for years, the whole time I've been in the industry. I reckon we'll come up with something different. Something that means first iteration is pretty much everything.
GSD.
Yeah.
Get stuff done. Something like that. The GSD methodology, just get stuff done.
Yeah, I reckon that's what we'll do. We'll come up with something that kind of describes.
I'm trademarking that, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the new Get AI project delivery methodology, the GSD, just get stuff done.
I mean, we need to get a project delivery person, someone that really understands this stuff way better than I do, and maybe there's someone at Get AI that's got that profile, and get them on the podcast and go, well, how is it changing, and what do you think would be the next iteration from Agile or Waterfall to kind of reflect, Because if someone comes to you and says, I want an MVP, and you build it in a month, what then?
Harden and put into prod. Well,
You know,
MVP's in product.
what you're done, you just move on, right? Like, because everyone knows once you get to MVP, then the business users use it for 6 months and give you a list of 20 other features, and you go, well, we've already funded the project now. We've got one developer. It's really hard. But we're now in a world where you can just go, well, give us the 20 features.
There's no such thing as one developer anymore. You have these AI agent developers.
It's interesting in the development space too. We're hearing stories of people spinning up like 60 open cores and just doing parallel builds. I think Bert's going to talk a bit about this, right, when he's on the
Bert's doing some cool stuff. Trying to explain it to me. We live in the wrong time zone, so he's messaging me, and it's like 8 o'clock at night about all this cool stuff he's doing. And I'm a grandpa. For those listening, I'm in bed at like 8 because I'm up at 4:35 just on the go. For where I go. So he's trying to mess with this stuff, and my brain computing capacity just cannot process what you're saying to me right now. Come and show me. So we're gonna get him on next episode, I think. So
next episode we'll have him on to talk about how he's leveraging this kind of technology. But that is an interesting thing as well. So what if I've got agents building my pipeline of features and functions that I need to put in the product 24/7? They're running 24/7, right? I get to work the next morning and it's built that new dashboard that I asked it to. I mean, dashboards you can build in 20 minutes now. There's another amazing thing, right? React versus Power BI, like real-time analytics versus static dashboards. This is a whole podcast in itself, but this is just getting blown apart now, right? This whole...
We get Greg Nash on this one.
We need to get Greg on. Let's get Greg on and talk about this because, I can...
He's been talking about ontology and fabric and all this kind of stuff. He's doing some cool stuff.
I think we need to get him on and have a bit of a chat about this stuff because I can just see React dashboards in the Power Platform now. That just load data out of Dataverse like so fast.
He's going to challenge you.
He will challenge me, right? But I can just see it so fast. And to build a Power BI dashboard takes me a long time, right? Like I can just, with a prompt, I can build a React dashboard now. And it gives me exactly what I need.
He's doing some cool stuff actually for our customers as well. He's come up with something really cool. I don't want to share it because I'm giving away other IP. I'm not going to do that now. Again, that's twice now. I stopped myself from saying something, which is good. But he might chat about it, so he can be to blame if he shares it. But he's doing some cool stuff when it comes to the future of data and data platforms. For sure.
Well, for our listeners, so this year, great lineup of guests. We'll get Bert on to talk about what he's doing developing agents and things like this, and what he's working on. We'll get Justin Graham to talk about what he's doing at Toast around large scale development and managing engineers at a very senior level. We'll get Greg to come on and talk about data and the future and building dashboards and all this kind of stuff. Really, really interesting. And that sounds like a really good lineup for the next 3 months. We're just got to go organise it all now.
There's a few others working on as well behind the scenes, so watch this space. So I've got a few others lined up, and then we'll try to get Satya when he's over in Australia. Hey, Scott.
So speaking of which, so Matt and I will be at the AI tour on April 21. If anyone wants to come up to, I'll be on the booth, scattering around, talking to customers, spending time with people. So if you want to come up and have a chat, if you listen to this pod or you've, just interested in talking about Microsoft technology or anything like this, or just industry knowledge, just come up and have a chat to me. I'll be on the stand. And Matt, I'm sure you'll be wandering around as well.
I will be there.
Did I say April 21st? I think it's April 22nd. It's one of those days.
22nd. 22nd. Yeah, you're just throwing everyone off.
Yeah.
And then Bestecker on the 23rd. So there you go.
Sounds like your shout.
I've got to book that actually. I'll get a look at that after. So anyway, for those who want the best steak in Sydney, go to Bestecker.
That's a good plug.
The best one.
So 2 restaurants.
Maybe we can get sponsored by Bestecker. There we go. That's one of the sponsors of that. And I can get free steak. That'd be good. So,
good luck with that. I don't think they listen to tech podcasts, but awesome. All right. Well, that was a good chat, Matt, and it kind of brought everyone up to speed where we're at and why we decided to take kind of a few weeks off at the start of the year to kind of rethink, recheck, and look at the way the industry is operating and what we need to do, and look at our guests this year that can add a lot of value to our listeners. And also keep an eye out for our Power Studio launch. If anyone wants to do podcasts, I think it's a really, really good product to get you started.
That's cool. Scott did a really good job with that, actually. I'm very impressed. So,
Or even if you log on and check it out, even if you're just interested in vibe coding and what the capabilities are and what you can go and build in a short time period. I started it in November. I've nearly finished it now, so it's taken about 4 or 5 months, I think, of just sitting in front of the TV.
Just sporadic dev,
yeah. So it's really interesting on what you can go and create, and hopefully it inspires people to go pick up VS Code and go and do things. Yeah.
And our Western Bulldogs are 3-0, man, are looking very good for the premiership, buddy. So there you go.
You know what? I went and saw the Ballarat Miners versus the Bendigo. Trying to think of the name of them. Can't. Anyway, basketball team last night, and it was a fantastic game. We did lose, so it was a bit disappointing, but it's the first time I've seen the Miners play this year. So it was a great basketball game, mate. If you ever make it down my way, you can come and see a local game. A local game.
Yeah, well, I stopped you from being an Essendon supporter, and I've shipped you over to hopefully the Western Bulldogs, buddy. So and Essendon are not doing too good. So
no, they haven't. So, they have not been doing well.
I saved you from doom and gloom, my friend. So there you go. So
the Bulldogs are up leveling right now. So good luck to those guys. We'll see how they go, and it's going to be a great football season. All right, mate, take it easy. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in and listening in to our podcast today. And like I said, if you like listening to the podcast, click on the links, share it, favourite it, talk to people, drop us a comment. Happy to engage with anyone that listens to our podcast.
The uni topic is very controversial.
It's very controversial, the uni topic. Yeah, I felt that was.
People's thoughts on that.
Yeah. So if your university is really embracing AI, let us know.
About it.
Yeah,